save for the boxes the new tenant had carried in. She was young, full of hope, believing she had found a fresh start, a chance to build a life in her own space. But the Labubu doll was already there. It waited on the dresser, just as it always did. At first, she thought nothing of it. A strange little toy, forgotten by the last tenant. Its grin unnerved her, yes, but she told herself it was harmless. She even placed it on the shelf, arranging it neatly between her books, as though it belonged. For the first few days, she tried to ignore it. She worked, she unpacked, she filled her rooms with life. But always, the doll remained, always watching, always present. It didn't take long before she noticed the movements. A book would fall from the shelf, and there it was, standing where she hadn't placed it. One morning, she found it balanced carefully on the kitchen counter. Another night, waiting on the bathroom sink. She told herself she must be forgetful. She must be moving it without realizing. But deep down, she knew it was choosing where to be. Each night, its position grew more deliberate. No longer random, no longer subtle. Always closer to where she slept. The shelf, the dresser, the chair. And then, at the end of her bed, her sleep withered. Hours passed in restless turning, her eyes fixed on its painted grin. Some nights, she swore its head tilted when she looked away. Some nights, she thought its painted smile had stretched just a little wider. The fear was quiet at first, like a whisper at the edge of her thoughts. But whispers grow. They echo. They devour. Soon, she could think of nothing else. One night, she decided to test it. She carried the doll to the closet, set it inside, and locked the door. For the first time, she felt in control. She breathed easier. She climbed into bed, and exhaustion finally claimed her. But when morning came, it was waiting. Not on the shelf, not in the chair, but on her chest. She woke to its glassy eyes staring inches from her face. The scream tore her throat raw. She flung it across the room, but by the time it struck the wall, it was gone, vanished. And when she dared to rise from her bed, it was already back, sitting on the dresser, untouched, unbroken, waiting with that painted grin. The days grew heavier. Her world shrank. She stopped leaving the apartment. She stopped answering calls. She lived in silence, pacing her rooms, watching every shadow, every reflection, every corner where it might appear. The Labubu doll had claimed her attention, and once it had that, it needed nothing else. Some nights, she heard it, the faint scrape of its tiny feet against the floor, the sound of wood shifting, the almost inaudible creak of her bedroom door opening wider. She tried to tell herself it was the building, the pipes, the neighbors, but the truth lived in her chest like a stone. She knew, and then the rules began to reveal themselves. She discovered the first by accident. If she kept her eyes open, if she stared at it through the night, it never moved. But if she blinked too long, if she drifted too close to sleep, the distance would close. The second came days later. When she tried to cover it with a blanket, she woke to find the fabric folded neatly at the foot of her bed. The doll, sitting on top, waiting. It wanted to be seen. And the third rule was the worst of all. She could not leave. The first time she tried, she packed her things in a frenzy. Suitcases filled, boxes sealed, her hands trembling as she reached for the door. But when she turned the key, she felt it. A presence. A weight. She spun, and there it was. Not on the shelf, not on the dresser, but right beside the door handle. Waiting. She dropped the bags. She never tried again. Her world dissolved. She wandered her rooms like a prisoner, jumping at every creak, every shadow. The doll grew bolder. It no longer waited for night. It followed her into the kitchen, the bathroom, the hallway mirror, always there, always grinning. And then came the night she broke. She hadn't slept in days. Her hands shook. Her voice cracked when she spoke to herself just to fill the silence. She stared at the doll, and the doll stared back. Hours passed like this, but something was different. That night, she blinked, and when her eyes opened, it was gone. The dresser sat empty. For the first time in weeks, she was alone. Her chest swelled with relief. Tears filled her eyes. She laughed, wild, broken laughter. It was over. The nightmare had ended, until she heard the sound. A faint scrape from under the bed. Her laughter died. She froze, her body refusing to move. Slowly, she leaned forward, peering into the dark space beneath her. And there it was. Not sitting, not waiting, crawling. Its painted face scraping against the floorboards, its grin wider than she had ever seen. She stumbled back, clawing at the door, her breath ragged, her mind unraveling. And as the darkness swallowed her scream, the apartment fell silent again. The next morning, the neighbors would notice her door unlocked, her belongings untouched. But she was gone. No trace, no explanation. Only one thing remained. The Labubu doll, back on the dresser, waiting. Because the rules are simple. It cannot be misplaced. It cannot be destroyed. And once it chooses you, there is only one ending. And now, the apartment waits for someone new. The boxes will arrive. The curtains will be pulled back. And the cycle will begin again. For the Labubu doll is eternal, patient, watching, and all it needs is someone else to notice. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button because we are always here while you are wide awake.